former Kingston Frontenac, Guelph Storm, came across at the trade deadline. So they add an overager, and the Brantford Bulldogs had to cut Zachary Lavoie to make room for the overage spot for Budnick, but he'll shore up the back end for the Bulldogs as Protz will send this in, the Montreal prospect. Van Acker off the boards, finds O'Brien. He just keeps it in at the blue line, turning with it there, big Andrew Gibson. Simon Wang, between the two of them, solid 13.5 feet on the blue line for the Generals as it's centered out front. Welling up O'Brien, and a big block there by Luke Torrance to get the leg down. Turning with it, Juracek. He falls off the check from Griffin. Here's another chance, and Juracek scores. Peels in front to the slot, beats.
In separate games, so he comes into this game with a point in every OHL game he's played so far, this being game number 3.
Left Ohio State to join the Oshawa Generals after leading the USHL in scoring a year ago with Dubuque. Here's Van Acker. Back to the point, Budnick shovels it on goal, hit the goal post. Might have been tipped by O'Brien. I'm not sure that Oster saw it till the last second. Barlow finds a puck though, will turn it to Powell. He wants a change, gains center, and we'll slice it in. And Hamara back for it as Oshawa changes up. Leaves it there for Jake O'Brien. Drop it back for Budnick. He scans ahead and sends it off the boards out to the Oshawa line. O'Donnell tees it up for Van Acker. Good stick there by Morelli. And right back the other way comes Torrance. Luke Torrance gains the line, throws the puck on goal. Not much on it though. Griffin trying to dig for it along with O'Donnell. The native of Cole Harbour, Nova Scotia, along with a couple of big names, able to play here. Big collision at the Brantford bench as Powell brings the puck across. Went to take a shot, was upset from behind by Luca Testa. And Merrick Van Acker will carry it across the Oshawa line. Drops for Testa. Looking back for Krimpatek. Puck never made it there. Now D'Amato jumps into the rush with Griffin. Pass didn't connect. D'Amato lifts the stick, gets it back. Centers for Griffin. Here's Torrance. Krimpatek had lost his stick. Went to go get it. D'Amato will find it on the far boards. Makes a move around Van Acker into the corner. Luca D'Amato circles the entire zone. Still with it. D'Amato now takes a shot. That's blocked by O'Brien. So it'll be Ritchie, Powell, Barlow. Morelli keeps it at the point. Torrance out there as well. He'll want to get to the front of the net as Morelli carries this to the middle. Finds Powell. Here's Powell. One-timer, and he ripped that wide. Ritchie will glove it down on the near boards. Settles it down low for Torrance. Torrance looking for Barlow. Good defensive play by Moore. Ritchie for Morelli. Down low, Powell. Looks back to Morelli at the point. No lane to get it through. Ritchie drags, fires, and no rebound up the other way. Merrick Van Acker works his way in. That shot.
Out 8 points in 4 games since returning from the World Juniors.
Hamara down for the Chicago first rounder, and Van Acker, he carries it around the zone. Lots of speed for Merrick Van Acker. Lost the puck off the skate of O'Brien. Hamara will pinch and pay the price on a hit by Rogowski. O'Brien, though, keeps it in the zone. Down for Van Acker. Back for O'Brien. Jake O'Brien trying to work his way to the slot. Generals will come up with it. Rogowski sees some room ahead, then chipped it to an open wing, but there was nobody home. Van Acker going to get by Franson. Got a shoulder onto him. Sent in by Testa. Back for it, Simon Wang. O'Brien battles against him. Sent to open ice by Barlow. Too far for Franson. Generals over-skated at their own blue line. Testa will bring it in. Luca Testa had it slide off his stick. Look out, Barlow. Don't think he knew that Brown was coming. Bulldogs will keep it in the zone. Cole Brown turns it towards the goal. Oster will steer it to the far corner. Jumping in quickly on it is Sherna. O'Brien sends it around the Oshawa zone. Krimpatek unable to keep it in, though, at the point. Full on the power play. It had been all Bulldogs prior to that point. Out shooting Oshawa 7-1. Shots are now 8-5. And Jens turnover a puck in the offensive zone. Here's Griffin looking out front. They score!
Great play, though, on this goal by Owen Griffin. Torrance works the cycle down low to Griffin, and Griffin just a beautiful pass right between the legs of Protz to Cinnabori at the side of the net. And he pots his 11th of the season. Goals in back-to-back now for the Finnish import. And the Generals lead this one 2-1.
Middle cut off by the Generals. Danford brings it back in. Slashes it deep into the Bulldogs' end. As Juracek turns with it. Generals in the midst of a change. Merrick Van Acker looks back to Protz. And Protz will survey ahead. Oh, rips it by Testa, though that made it by it. Face off to the right of Ryerson Leaders. It's controlled by the Bulldogs. Sent right up the middle. Here's Van Acker. Working on Morelli. Van Acker spins. Now carries, finds it in the slot for Testa. He couldn't get a shot away. Gibson will take into the corner, protected against two Bulldogs, and then Morelli will feed ahead for Cinnabori. He finds Griffin up ahead. Torrance on the far side. Griffin drops it. Cinnabori in front. They score! The Ottawa Senators prospect unable to join Czechia, of course, because he is an overager. That puck was face off, controlled by the Bulldogs. Protz shot blocked by Cinnabori. Gibson in on it. D'Amato will race across the zone. Lifts the stick. Cinnabori gets it out to center. Protz, though, battles him, takes the puck away. O'Brien turns back with it. Gives to Protz. Looking back in front for O'Brien. It made it on goal. Oster the pad save. And Cinnabori's got it the other way at center. Mallory Cinnabori trying to chip it in deep. Gets it by Van Acker. Now we'll go in on the forecheck with a hit onto Juracek. Puck out at center. Found by Griffin. Look out. Off of a skate. Sent in front. Griffin the hook. And as
OHL at 25.5%. As you can see, Griffin getting the stick in there on Testa, who then lost an edge and ended up in the corner, but he's no worse for wear.
Face off to the left of Oster, controlled by the Bulldogs. Hamra plays it across. Juracek surveys, now shoves it back to Hamra. Juracek. O'Brien out there as well. Thomas and Brown down for Brown, side of the goal, scores! Time for Cole Brown to walk out front. Save made by Oster. Onto the rebound, Van Acker. Circles the zone. Merrick Van Acker finds some room in the slot, takes a shot. That one blocked by Torrance. Couldn't find the puck, though. It's still loose, edge of the blue paint. Controlled by Sandu. Lost it for a moment to O'Brien, sends it around the boards. Griffin can't get to it. Protz will keep it in. Kicking it ahead is Cinnabori. Testa onto it, trying to center it. Van Acker will come up with it. Griffin plays it away from him. Sandu protecting away from O'Brien. Finds Danford. And he'll skate it out across the blue line to center. Danford still with it now. Danford for Griffin. Cross ice for Torrance. That one broken up by Cole Brown. Ritchie got a stick on that puck. Kept it in the Bulldog zone momentarily. And now Protz will start away with it. Van Acker back for Protz. Weaves his way through into the Oshawa zone. Drops it off. Brown looking across. It was behind O'Brien. He gets shoved down hard by Morelli. Onto it, Cherna. Leaves it at the point.
For him, right out the other side of the crease.
Simon Wang will take a shot wide of the goal. Gibson at the point. Griffin, long shot. That one just whistled wide. Cinnabori banging with Van Acker, and Cinnabori took the worst of that. Puck comes out. O'Brien feed it back into his own zone. Leanders plays for Hamra. Griffin quickly in on the forecheck. Tomas Hamra skates away from that, gains the Oshawa end. Hamra now will settle it down. Sifts it back for Testa, his long shot. Cinnabori, trailer is Sandu alone. Rebound, what a save! Getting back with Leaders as he reached back with the stick and robbed the rebound of Sandu. Save of the night, perhaps coming in the second period, might be the save of the weekend, and it's Friday night. Ryerson Leaders sells out, reaching back to steal a goal from Zach Sandu. Now the Generals back the other way again. Here's Martin for D'Amato across. Went off a leg right through the slot. Morelli down low for Rogowski. Generals getting the pressure back going. Buckley in the corner. Finds Rogowski, trying to feed Martin in front. Goes off a stick. Martin looks back to Morelli. Throws it on goal. That one blocked. Turning and firing was Rogowski through the slot. D'Amato plays it in wide. Rogowski side of the goal. Wraparound try. Never made it on net. But right through the blue ice. Now sent high out to center. D'Amato will glove it down. Morelli looks ahead. Tipped off the stick of Rogowski. Budnick will send it off the boards out to center. Morelli controls there. Almost lost it. Now forced back. Gives to D'Amato. He'll send it ahead to Griffin. He feeds Toms through center. Ethan Toms gains the zone. Generals are changing. Off the bench. Wing. Misfired. Rebound. Another great save by Leaders as he ranges back. Centered out front for Griffin. That one broken up twice now. Leaders has had a range to his right to collect the rebound and make a huge save. Hamara will carry ahead. Tomas Hamara around the Oshawa zone. Face-off controlled by the Gens. D'Amato will send it ahead. That goes off a glove. Touched, though, by the Bulldogs and then sent right back in. Oster tees it up behind his net for Morelli. Luca Morelli, signed by the Columbus Blue Jackets in December. Being drafted there in the third round. Sent in by the Gens. Back for it, Iracek. His brother David, a Columbus Blue Jacket. And it's off of Iracek, but would have been offside. Generals look ahead, and Griffin was there. The spring pass for D'Amato goes off of Griffin, and he gets taken down, I think, by the stick of Leanders. Might have ran in to the knob on the stick of Leanders. Play continues on. 5,000 plus referees in the stands will let you know what they think. As they try to call it themselves, but it doesn't work that way as O'Brien digs it free in the corner. Sandu looking for Buckley. Following up, though, is Torrance. Here's Luke Torrance across the line. Pass for Buckley, never made it there. Played into the corner. Brotz will get to it first. Ahead for O'Brien. Backhand finds Van Acker. Face off to the right of Oster. One cleanly by Ritchie. Morelli starts it away. Brotz steps up the blue line, keeps it in. Morelli will send it to the near corner. Danford onto it first. Spins it around the zone. Powell will find it. Slides it for Ritchie. Couldn't handle it. Pass was a bit behind him. Now he gets it right back at the offensive blue line. Feeds it past Iracek. Thomas finds O'Brien right back the other way. Van Acker throws it back looking for O'Brien. Broken up by Powell. Couldn't find it to his stick, though. And this period will run down there as Iracek throws up already. Torrance and Griffin have a pair of points each in this game. Puck dug free by Sinavori and then sent out to center. Gibson will track back for the Generals. Big Andrew Gibson, originally a Detroit second-round pick, but had his rights traded to the Nashville Predators. He'll send it ahead for Griffin. Gibson heads towards the net. Griffin sends it around the zone. Sinavori waits for it there, slid under his stick, so Merrick Van Acker will start ahead. Leaves for Jake O'Brien, ranked 8th among North American skaters in the Central Scouting ranks. The MVP for the Eastern Conference in the top prospects game this week, held in Brantford. Krimpata keeps it in for O'Brien. Shovels it to open ice on the far side. Simon Wang will get to it there. Gets it ahead to the line, not out. In the slot, finding it, Van Acker. Backhand goes wide. O'Brien to Van Acker. Merrick Van Acker. His shot off a leg, and Griffin will pick it up. Looks ahead. Gains set for Powell. Got by him. Brown for O'Brien. Finds Van Acker. He takes a big bump from Gibson, who stepped up across the Oshawa line. Testa kicks it ahead. Griffin bodied. Van Acker sweeps in to steal the puck, though. Eric Van Acker trying to make his way out. Gibson will just kick it back to the corner. Whatever works. As Luca Testa battles against Simon Wang. Van Acker comes in, takes the puck, finds Protz at the point. Protz throws it on goal and got through Oster, but wide. And the carom goes all the way back out and into the Bulldogs' end. Slid ahead off of Van Acker. In behind the goal, Oster will play it around. Testa will get to it first, kicks it deep in the corner. O'Brien centers. Van Acker turns and fires it wide. Martin chips it out to center. Here's Rogowski busting in. Brooks Rogowski to the net. Stop Nelson for high stick. Huge power play opportunity for the Gents. They scored on their only one in the first period. Morelli skates it to the middle. Finds Powell, who had the power play marker. Back for Morelli. Ritchie down low. Torrance trying to pop it out to Barlow. That's broken up and then slashed down the ice by Tommy Budnick. Morelli carries ahead. Drop back option. Barlow, he's got Ritchie with him. Sends him the puck now, and Ritchie will gain the zone. Ran into the check, though, of O'Brien. Ritchie gloves this down, or else O'Brien was off to the races. And the Gens will regroup. Luca Morelli drops back again. Barlow this time will carry it in himself. Drops it off for Torrance. Plays it around the zone for Powell. Powell, Morelli, Ritchie, cross for Barlow, waits. I'm looking for Ritchie and broken up. 20 seconds remaining in the first of the double minor. Cinnavori gives to Griffin. Griffin back for Cinnavori. Cinnavori slides it on goal. Rebound came out, slashed out by Danford. Leanders fought it off with the shoulder. Couldn't control the rebound. The Gens couldn't find it to pot it. They get the first line back out. Ritchie carries in himself, gives to Torrance. Slows it down for Morelli. Wants it back for Powell. Noah Powell fires. Glove save by Leanders.
Double minor. Powell, the latest one. But here's the move by Cinnavori into the zone. Gets the shot away. And it's fought off by Leanders as Cinnavori cuts to his left. And Leanders has to reset and does just enough to get that puck to go to the corner.
Face-off controlled by the Bulldogs and fought down the ice. And the captain, Patrick Thomas. Morelli blew a tire going around the net, but right back up with a minute 25 to work on the man advantage. Ritchie will gain the zone. Slides it ahead for Torrance. Rolling puck. Lost the handle. Ritchie, though, able to keep it in. Across the zone. One-timer. And I'm not sure if Leanders got a piece of that or the post.
Power play as it will remain a man power advantage for Oshawa.
It's still 5-on-4, but just for 15 seconds left. Cinnavori made a move at the... Gibson trying to cut around Protz. Puck ends up in the corner. Gibson will continue in on the forecheck. Out of the box comes Nelson. As O'Brien starts ahead. Backhand. Although they are missing Nick Lardis, who's tied for the league lead in power play goals, out with an illness tonight. Didn't stop Cole Brown from scoring on the more man advantage in the second period. So after a huge kill from the Bulldogs, a big one now for the Gens. Juracek will skate it right up the middle. Gives to Patrick Thomas, trying to slide it back for Juracek. Broken up by Gibson. He'll send it down the ice. Gibson and Danford, the penalty killers with the back. Barlow and Griffin up front. Thomas caught by Barlow. Thomas fights off the check, though. Continues down low. Leaves it for Brown. Back to the point. Hamara waits. Fires. Oster the save. Streak. Both these teams coming in, having won 3 straight. Ritchie won it forward. Torrance is going to win a race to it. Fires it wide of the goal. A chance to walk into that blast. Pass for O'Brien, got behind him. Ritchie and Van Acker, of course, back out after serving their minor penalties. 50 seconds remain on the power play as Juracek plays it back for Hamara. Hamara ran into a wall of Jens, but breaking through, O'Brien finds Thomas and scores! They're going to have to check and sets up Patrick Thomas for an easy one. Hamara gets it to O'Brien. He just shovels it around Sandu, and then everyone was looking that side of the ice. Thomas was all alone on the other side. The question might be right there at Hamara, and it is skate go across. It was a very quick review, though. In to Sinavori, looks in front, scores! Right back to evens. Danford, look out, loses the puck and falls. Van Acker right back in. O'Brien goes to the net, shovels it on goal, but Oster.
Hockey game back and forth, great chances. Here's the latest one. Van Acker to O'Brien, tied up, still gets a shot away though. Bit of a fluttering puck.
But if Ritchie doesn't back check there, Generals goals tonight. And Sinavori's got it again. Down behind the net for Buckley. Griffin waits in the slot, now heads behind the goal and gets the puck. Looks back to the point. Wang across the blue line for Gibson. Gibson throws it on goal. And with face-off win in the offensive zone. Gibson around the boards for Ritchie behind the goal. Protects in the corner, skates it to the slot. Ritchie's on his backhand, hooks it back to Gibson. Back for Ritchie. Can't slide it on goal, broken up, and Van Acker starts back the other way. Pass too far for O'Brien. Steals a puck though. Here's Jake O'Brien to the slot. Stopped by Oster. And Barlow sent O'Brien to the ice after he shot it. Ritchie will backhand it in. Leanders plays it ahead. Testa couldn't control. Sent out front. Barlow turns and fires. That's off a leg and wide. And Ritchie got taken down in front by Van Acker. Turning with it, Juracek slides it up the boards for Van Acker. Weaves his way to center. Merrick Van Acker, the Chicago first rounder, shoved to the boards by Sandu. Danford back for it. And the Maple Leafs prospect plays ahead for Griffin. Sinavori's out with Torrance and Powell now. Puck kept in at the point by Wang. His shot, though, deflected by Van Acker. Wang in retreat. Van Acker gets onside. Here's O'Brien. Pulls it to the middle and through his legs, got a shot away. Generals start back the other way. Torrance wants to sift it ahead for Sinavori. Gibson at his own blue line finds Torrance. Gens want to get it deep. They do. Barlow and Ritchie expect them to jump streak on home ice for the Generals on the line as well. It's the Bulldogs who will control first. Cherna, or check that, sorry. Juracek out there with Protz and O'Brien. Barlow, Ritchie, and Morelli for the Gens. Protz gives it to Juracek. Shovels it ahead. Ritchie will jump in front of that, though, and the Gens gain control right back. Here's Callum Ritchie. Will he do it himself? Ritchie, one-on-one, knocks the stick out of the hand of Protz. Ritchie to the net. What a play by Ritchie. He fed the puck to Protz and knocked the stick out of his hands. Morelli now trying to dig a puck free in the corner. Pins Protz to the boards. Barlow will come up with it. And he'll skate it back into the neutral zone. Allows Morelli to change as Gibson jumps on. Barlow will skate it ahead now. Here's Colby Barlow. Drags and fires Leanders. Here's O'Brien. Offensive zone change for the Bulldogs. O'Brien skates it around. Powell swipes at him. O'Brien still with it. O'Brien to the net. Shot it wide. Powell trying to get to it. Testa fresher. He keeps the puck. Looks out front for O'Brien. Shovels it on goal.
The game winner. See some highlight reel moves in this overtime from both sides. Then Jake O'Brien on the doorstep.
O'Brien and Juracek for the Bulldogs. Face off won by Ritchie. Wang onto it. He gets spun down though. Testa comes away with it. Looks out front. Juracek Pulls back the shot. Testa with a pick on Ritchie. Looks out front. They score! And Ritchie is incensed. As he goes to the referee, he was picked. And neither referee called it.
But this one I think they have a legitimate gripe with. As there you see the pick. And O'Brien one times the shot past Oster. It's the game-winning goal. Brantford wins their 4th in a row. Generals get a point, though. They're on top of the Eastern Conference for now, but they're